So, there's been a lot of discussion lately in the Final Fantasy XIV sphere of how the game is hard all of a sudden. And there's a lot of opinions going on and off about that. And my first response is, I want to be compassionate to people who, I guess I'll just say, aren't very good at the game. But I feel like a lot of the discussion isn't really helping. And what I mean by that is just the basics of how to do a few things will handle 90% of the game. You know, like if the hardest thing you're doing is, you know, running normal raids, you don't need to optimize anything. And in fact, I think the discussion around Final Fantasy XIV is oftentimes obscured by people trying to min-max every single global cooldown and having the absolute optimal rotation all the time. And you know, like I've seen people have huge arguments about that basically come down to how can we get the most potency out of this one global cooldown, and they'll have this big argument of just arguing about one global cooldown. And the long story short of it is, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You don't have to be very good at this game to do Savage content, let alone normal or dungeons. So in this video, I'm just going to talk about how to tank a dungeon. And it's really simple. All you do is you pull wall to wall if you want to, and rotate your cooldowns. And I'm going to demonstrate this. I'll record like one wall to wall, well, I guess 2 wall to wall pulls, and then the first boss, I guess, of whatever dungeon that I get. And I'm going to show this on Dark Knight. Because, one, I think a lot of people play Dark Knight just because they like the dark edginess. You know, people just like the aesthetic of Dark Knight. But more importantly, I'm going to show this on Dark Knight because Dark Knight is objectively the worst tank to tank dungeons. Why would you want to tank a dungeon with a Dark Knight when you can go as a warrior and fully heal yourself 3 global cooldowns in a row every 25 seconds? Warrior is just objectively way better at dungeons than Dark Knight. But because Dark Knight is the worst, that means it's the best one to demonstrate this on. So I'm going to do something really simple. We want to rotate cooldowns, and we want to pull as much as we can. So every tank has one big cooldown. I guess I'm kind of blocking this a little bit with my picture, but Shadowed Vigil is our big cooldown, right? Reduces damage taken by 40%. We're going to pull everything. We're going to press Shadowed Vigil, and we're going to use the Blackest Night on cooldown because the Blackest Night only has 15 seconds. We're going to assess how much health everything has. If it has a ton more health, then I'm just going to press Reprisal after that, once Shadowed Vigil is off. And we're going to go from there. It's going to be super easy. So here's what I'm going to do. I am on my Dark Knight. We're going to click Expert Roulette. And I'm going to hope that we get an insta-Q? I'm a tank. Where's my insta-Q? I might edit this. Okay, I had to specific queue for Tender Valley because the first time I tried to do this, it gave me the level 100 MSQ dungeon, which for spoiler reasons probably shouldn't show that in this video. So I completed that dungeon, and now we're going to do this one instead because this is just an expert dungeon, doesn't have any story spoilers. So here we go. This is a better example anyway, because this dungeon is kind of more standard. There's going to be 2 big pulls, and there's going to be a boss. And that's all I'm going to show. I'm not going to show the whole dungeon. So I'll show the 2 big pulls, and I'm going to give everybody a wave. And I'm going to show the first boss, because why not? And someone says it's their first time here, which is great. here's what I do. Before we get into the combat, we pop sprint. My stance is on. We AoE things once, and we just keep going. You don't need to stop and hit everything multiple times, just hit it once. Gonna hit everything once, pop one cooldown, and the Blackest Night. And go ahead and pop everything you have. Because they're gonna be back on cooldown. Off cooldown by the time we need them again. And the faster we clear this, the faster the whole dungeon will take. Now, my big cooldown is off cooldown now, and there's still a lot of health, so I'll use like a Reprisal and an Oblation, along with the Blackest Night. Just to, you know, help out my healer, and that's kind of what I meant by rotating cooldowns. This pack takes a while because I have a lot of health. And I just, from here on out, because most of things are dead, I'll just use the Blackest Night on cooldown and nothing else. So if I popped all of my cooldowns, I might be really, really strong for a short amount of time. But then I'd be really, really weak for most of the pull. So by rotating my cooldowns, waiting until one is pretty much over before hitting my next one, it gives my health a smooth motion and not a jerky motion. I already popped sprint, hit everything once, keep running. Now for this one, I'm going to use Arm's Length and Rampart. Now you might say, but you just said don't stack your cooldowns. Yeah, those cooldowns are kind of weak by themselves. And with that combination, I'll be just fine. Again, trying to remember to use TBN on cooldown. And I'm, again, using all of my cooldowns when they're up. I have Shadowed Vigil back, so I'm just go ahead and use that, because you still have a lot of health. Now you might say, don't you want to save all of your DPS cooldowns for the boss? No, not really. You know, depending on how much health the monsters have. If they were almost dead, yeah, I probably would. But on the other hand, it doesn't really matter. And that's kind of the whole theme of this video, is just do a few things alright, and everything else that you do won't really matter. So I pulled everything, I used one big cooldown, used the Blackest Night on cooldown, waited until that ran out, and then I repeated the process. And I'll show this boss just because it's fun. I like this boss a lot, the Swole Tender. And all you Dark Knight mains out there might be saying, I'm doing this or that wrong, you know, this isn't how I'm gonna pull, like, doing ultimates or whatever Savage boss. And again, kind of my whole point, is it doesn't matter. This dungeon is gonna go just fine with me being a pretty shit Dark Knight. Because, honestly, I am a pretty shit Dark Knight. I don't play Dark Knight very often. I only play it if I'm tanking and my friend wants to use Warrior. That's literally the only time I ever Dark Knight. Is if I have a friend who wants to use Warrior, so I can't use Warrior. And I don't tank, like, really hard content. I'll take extremes all the time. But, it doesn't matter. I love this boss. I love this dungeon. This is a great dungeon. Oh, this is a problem. Okay, embarrassingly enough, the healer is dead. Sadly, there's not much else I can do, seeing as I'm a Dark Knight, and I might be able to solo this. part of me is saying to just die, but another part of me is like, can I... Oh shit. He's totally dead. Okay. I probably should die, but you know what? We're gonna go for it. If I was on a warrior, I would 100% be able to solo this. It wouldn't even be hard. But I'm on the least sustainable tank. Use the Blackest Night just to take some autos. It's probably not gonna break. But I'm kind of on sustain here. 30 seconds until I can get a big heal. Sprint. I think I'm okay, actually. Alright. This should give me a heal. Oh, no, it didn't. Oh. I was counting on that getting me below 50% health, so my heal from Shadowed Vigil would pop, but it didn't. Turns out all you need is TBN for that. Oh, it heals me after the fact. Oh, that's good. That's how little I play Dark Knight. This is probably rude of me to solo this, since this is taking so long. At this point, I'm committed, though. I'm gonna get another Shadowed Vigil here in a second. So yeah, kind of a weird example. Normally the healer won't die, but here we are. Healer Strike, I guess, has some merit. I don't know. I'm disrespecting him now. I didn't save enough for Blackest Night there. That might actually cost me. definitely even use this just for a little bit more health. This was very rude. I should have wiped. But because I'm recording, like, I don't want to wipe while I'm recording. So there you have it. That's how you take a dungeon all by yourself when the healer dies. Anyway, if you like this video, let me know. I'll probably, if people like this video, I'll probably do another one from a healer point of view. Basically with the same theme that most things don't matter. A lot of the people talking about, you know, how to optimally play everything are kind of exaggerating a lot of the time, and that most of the game is just not that hard, and that's fine. So if you like it, tell me below. If you don't like it, tell me below anyway. See you next time.